All right, everybody, welcome to another episode here of Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. We're here on December 6th, early morning. I got two people joining me back here. What's up, T? What's up, Case? How you guys doing?
What up?
Welcome back.
Was able to make it this time.
There you go. I'm glad you guys were able to make it. Held down the fort for a week, but definitely glad to have you guys.
Well done. Bravo.
Thank you. Not quite as easy as it looks, though. I give people props out there that do podcasts by themselves. That's not an easy thing to do. So I give those guys credit that do that on a weekly basis for sure. All right. Well, today we're going to get as we know a lot into the NFL. We're going to get into last week's games a little bit. We're going to look ahead to Titans, Browns, and as well, we're going to look to Niners, Bills. We're going to do our dump and run segment as well. But, first just wanted to give a little shout out to Casey and our dad. Today's his birthday, turning 64. So, Dad, happy birthday out there. Just, love you. We'll see you later today with the kids.
Yeah, where were you yesterday? We were making gingerbread houses. I was the only man making gingerbread houses.
Getting the podcast. Getting the podcast ready. But Dad will understand. He was a working man. I'll get it. So, but I'll see him later today. So, Dad, love you out there and happy birthday. Speaking of my dad, I maybe there was something that happened during the week that kind of just brought a little story to my mind about my dad. I kind of want to bring up real quick did you guys see the high school football player that lost it? It crushed the referee during the game.
Yeah, I did see that.
I remember the fight in soccer.
Yeah, there was it reminded me of my dad. What was it? So there was you remember there was some field, there was some soccer. There was a soccer game between my team and I think a team from Katati, and this guy Ben and this other guy was getting into it. Ben was on my team, and the guy on the other team and Ben started fighting, and they were close to our parents' sideline, my team's sideline, and my dad, just kind of standing there, just kind of trying to grabs a kid to break up the fight, but he happens to grab the other team's kid and kind of just wraps him because he's getting ready to throw a punch, and then sure enough, some kid from my team comes up and just cheap shots the guy right in the stomach. So it looks like my dad's holding him to give him a shot to the belly.
That was at a Scotty Park.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
cheap shot Luke.
That was hilarious.
Cool hand Luke.
He came in there. But that story of that high school video kind of brought back memories of that. Thank goodness for that kid. They didn't have cell phones back then. Or thank goodness for my dad. They didn't have cell phones back then.
He might have lost his job.
What are you doing? Hold it back a kid so you get a cheap shot. No, just kidding. But my dad. Yeah, Dad, happy birthday. We'll see you later today. Like I said, gentlemen, I know next. Exactly. So before we get right into the NFL here, just remember to follow us at Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. Be sure to follow Tyler at Tyler MGUIRK and at Twitter, and also Casey on his Twitter account as well. And Tyler also doing the Instagram as well. So that's over at Fatboy as well. So please be sure to like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. We're up to 34 subscribers, so we appreciate you out there that
we're begging you. Like and subscribe. We need it.
We need it. We like
the algorithm, the YouTube algorithm.
For sure, that would be nice. No, but
One like.
I like how Darren doesn't even mention my Beverly Hills address anymore. He just says Casey.
I'm gonna let you, Casey 954324761. That just to be exact. So if you wrote that down or memorized it, congratulations. All right, so next week we'll get a little bit more into the NBA a little bit with the NBA starting up this week. The Warriors got their first two games out against the Nets and the Bucks. And hold on. Me and Tyler had a good discussion the other day about Harden and Wall. So next week we'll get a little bit more.
Not Harden.
It was I should say Wall and Westbrook and the deal around that, and so that was a fun little conversation we had last on Friday. So hopefully we'll be able to share that with you next week. So. Can we jump in the NFL, or Casey, do you want to say something real quick?
What happened to Tyler's room?
I know. It's he's
that's a story for another day. That's a big secret. It's a big secret.
We don't want to reveal anything like that. All right. So let's get into the NFL.
It would have been best if you didn't bring it up.
Sorry. I was like, wait, what happened? I was like,
no, I mean, yeah, I should have. Yeah, we're good.
Where's Barbie?
It's this old girlfriend's room.
Well, it looks very nice. You painted it very nice this weekend.
I didn't do crap.
All right, let's get into a quick look ahead or a quick look back at week 12 there. And then I'll let you guys kind of jump in where you want to. First thing I got to get to just from last week is the Raiders. I mean, what a real pathetic effort. A 43-6 loss. Did not see that much of a beating coming, I guess. And the Falcons actually probably could have got 50. I think they dropped a touchdown pass there. So they could have got a 50 spot put on. To make matters worse for the Raiders, Jacobs is out. The good
Abrams
news
is
for the
out.
Raiders, and Abrams is out. The good news is they do have the Jets this week. I really feel it's a big game for the Raiders. We're not going to get into it too much this week, but I think it's a big game in the sense of if you lose this game, I feel like the Gruden era kind of takes a little bit of a step back there.
Jets.
So we'll see what happens there.
If you lose to Crazy Eyes Gase, we got some issues, man. Like this has been a rough. Like
was that a?
You can't lose to them.
Oh, I thought that was a homophobic.
No, that was not that guy. Hey, what do you think about the Raiders? If they lose this game, though, to the Jets, I feel like that is a step back for the Gruden kind of rebuild here.
I mean, you're missing your best your best player. I don't know.
Am I making too much of it? Like, I feel like they've had this long stretch with him now, and I feel like they're ready to – I felt like they were ready to make the playoffs this year. I just feel like if they lost to the Falcons and then lose to the Jets, who have 0 wins, it's just kind of a – I don't know, it just kind of feels like a little bit
it's demoralizing for this season for sure, but I don't think it's –
to me, it would be a huge setback because, like, last year they were 6-4 and they lost to the crappy Jets and went 6-5, and then they derailed, and it was like the same situation as like this year. They're 6-4, and then they're playing the Falcons, and I was just like, I mean, last year the Raiders lost 34-3 at the Jets, just like, and then this year they got mollywopped, like absolutely just handed to them. And I was like, Derek Carr was just giving away, like, he was like Santa. He was just like, here, take whatever you want. Like,
yeah, he was very nice. Very nice last week.
Very giving mood.
4 turnovers, like 3 fumbles. I was like, really? Like, I mean, I get interceptions, but like 3 fumbles, that's a lot. Like,
Daniel Jones-esque.
The Warriors. The Raiders are also 0-6 their last games at the Jets. So we'll see how that plays out. Also, last week, some things that went out was probably the most interesting, horrible game that we've probably seen in maybe a long time. I was actually kind of excited for the game, just like, all right, maybe this guy gets this one shot. You know what I mean? He's like this receiver. He comes out of, they make a movie out of him because he throws 2 touchdowns and leads the team to his, kind of like that guy from the Eagles, that movie that Mark Wahlberg did or something like that, where he's like,
Invincible.
Invincible.
I thought you were talking about the Sunday morning newspaper kicking.
No, not that one. No, not that one. Shooter. No, but
you want to go the Red Lobster?
It turned out to be a complete dud. I think he went 1 for 9 with 13 yards and 2 touchdowns. What's his name? Tyler Hunter there. But
Kendall Hinton.
He seemed not to do very well there. What do you want to say about Hill, though? You said you thought something about the Saints in that game.
I mean, there's not much to say. Just 269 yards, 200 in the first quarter, 3 touchdowns, 51 fantasy points. He's just he's different.
A different type, huh?
He's just a different animal out there.
What do you think is the difference between him and Tebow? Is that he can actually throw, right? Like, I mean, he can
Tyreek Hill
more. Yeah, like he can
Tyreek,
actually like that.
Or Hinton.
Or Hinton, I mean, talking about.
Oh, there's a big difference. Tebow played quarterback his whole life.
You know what? I thought you were talking about Hill, the quarterback for the Saints for a second. I see what you mean. You're talking about Tyreek Hill from the Chiefs and his.
That would be Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill.
I don't want to talk about Taysom Hill.
I was like, he had 200 yards in the first half. I was like, well, that
first quarter.
I was like, where the hell was that?
For like 100 something, if that.
Do we not know Tyreek? No, Tyreek Hill.
Gotcha.
It's even more 269 yards and 3 receiving touchdowns, 15 targets, 13 receptions. He's so just dynamic.
He is unreal.
And he's turned into a good receiver. Like, it's not just like going deep. He actually can run routes and make plays on the ball and go up and get it.
The Chiefs in general are they got to be the heavy favorite now. In my opinion, I mean, I know the Steelers are still undefeated, but I mean, they're just wrecking shop. I mean, it's hard to see them losing a game with that. It almost feels like they just take possessions off. Like at times, like Hill felt like he could have got 350 if he wanted to.
It looks like they get a lead and then save the playbook for.
I know for sure. You did.
We're not going to show this.
Casey Tyler did say earlier in the year he did have Hill as his top receiver, remember? So maybe we got to give him a little credit on this one. We'll give him a little shout out so far.
We do. But I was gonna say it was funny that I was watching Kellen Mond, the quarterback, and he plays for the SEC. I think it's Mississippi State. I could be wrong, but they were showing like he was yesterday one of 3 quarterbacks to go 9,000 yards and over 1,500 yards rushing or something like that. And I was like, they showed the names, and it was Tim Tebow and Dak Prescott, and Kellen Mond was the third. And I was just like, man, college is so different than the NFL. If you can just run or be athletic as a quarterback, like you can
you have a shot.
You got a shot, definitely. Because their speed can exploit like the outside so much easier and stuff like that. So, all right, before we get to our Let's Go for 2 segment, I have to point out this about the NFL and just like this unstoppable machine that it is. Like people can rip on the NFL, like any scandal could come at this thing, and it's like it grows. Like American people think about this on
like a bulldozer.
Thanksgiving. All right, if you guys were to say those Thanksgiving games, they weren't anything great games. I mean, we're talking terrible. Detroit at Houston. Yeah. Well, I mean, they still get $25 million for Houston, Detroit, $34 million or $32 million for Washington, Dallas. I mean, Dallas will just draw no matter what. They could be the worst team on earth, and somehow they get 30 million viewers. It's just the NFL. It's like if you want, they're just unstoppable. It's like they're just automatic viewership at any point during. It's
Thanksgiving is it's a tradition like no other. You wake up, put on football, start cooking your food, and comparatively speaking, the NBA Finals was drawing an average of 7.5 million.
Crazy that's just on one game, right? Just nuts. That's how that is, and that's the finals for the championship round. So, all right. So
I have to mention I have to say this. Mike McCarthy, is that the worst play calling you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh, we were watching that. Oh, that was bad.
It's not as bad as that Colts fake punt against the Patriots.
That was the worst.
Look it up if you haven't seen it. No, look it up if you haven't seen it.
That's worse. You're right. That one was worse.
This was just
this one just seemed bad because it was such a methodical double reverse. It was just like, ooh, they were like way back on it. It's just like, what are we doing? I would have loved to be there for Mike Luna and for Frankie's reaction on that one. That would have been good to have a good Dallas fan there for that one.
But all right, guys, you have to get 10 yards, and then you get the receiver going 15 yards back. So you have to run 25 yards. That's the stupidest play I've ever seen. And then
I was looking forward.
I was just thinking because it was hella funny because everyone ran trick plays on Thanksgiving. And,
there were so many.
There
were so many trick plays.
Yeah, no, it was ridiculous. And then I was like, that's how stupid the Cowboys are. The Redskins ran the annexation of Puerto Rico, and they fell for it.
It was a great play. Oh, Fumblerooski.
Yeah, I like the name for that. Good call, Case, on that one. A little shout out to Little Giants there. All right, let's get into our Let's Go for 2 segment here. We're gonna look ahead to 2 games. It wasn't really worth looking back at the Titans Colts game last week, so we're gonna look ahead to 2 games. Kind of a weak slate of like really big games this week. So we're gonna pick out the few that we thought were the biggest. So we'll go with the top 2 here. The first game we're gonna talk about real quick. I talked about them last week on the pod with the Titans versus Colts. But let's go Titans Browns today. Both teams are 8-3. Titans are top of the division. Browns are behind the Steelers. Titans beat the Colts last week 45-26. Henry just put on a show with 27 carries, 178 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the guy I'm starting to be more impressed with is AJ Brown. He had four catches, 98 yards, and I think he had a touchdown as well. But his power is just did he have 2? His power is just incredible. I'm noticing when he has the ball as well. The other thing is that's impressive with the Browns as well is they haven't lost a game. I thought it was a funny stat. Browns haven't lost a game when they have scored more than 9 points. I mean, it's kind of a little fluffy stat, but at the same point, it does show that their defense is actually pretty legit. And if they can score just some points, they're going to be in games. They're going to be able to win. And the fact they have 8 wins with that kind of, shows me that they could probably compete with with Tennessee today. But the Titans also have, really high. I think they're like the fifth averaging the fifth most points. So their offense is surprising me. So it'll be interesting to see that Browns Titans matchup. So Tyler, my question to you is more towards the Titans. Is Brown, Henry, and Tannehill now have to be considered a legit big three on the offensive end?
I think Henry makes them a legit big three. I don't think the two on their own could create a big three with any other player in the NFL, maybe, except Henry at running back. So,
so you don't consider Brown at an elite? Okay, so
he has 40 receptions on the year in 9 games.
So do you think Henry?
He had a good game last week. He's dynamic. He can make big plays, but he's not there yet.
So you're still suspect of their.
And Ryan Tannehill just is hard to trust, even though he's had a great year this year. So I can't really say anything negative. He's done his part to be part of the big three, but I don't think it's a legit I guess there is no team really with 3 elite at all 3 positions.
Maybe besides the Chiefs, but it's more of a more.
But their running back isn't elite.
No, not at all. Case, who do you like to win this game today?
Well, I got to go with the Super Bowl pick, the Browns. But
did you get a little? Is that a little chub in your pants?
I'm guessing the Chubb Hunt factor is going to be a big reason why.
Well, the Titans they have the number 1 leading rusher, but they actually have the Browns have the 3rd leading rusher. So, it's going to be they both average over 100 yards. So I think it's just going to be whoever wins the line of scrimmage. The Browns are actually pretty darn good. Myles Garrett's a beast. Besides going psycho last year and hitting Mason Rudolph with the head. But,
you called him a bad word.
Well, he should. No comment.
I do think I would say Tannehill and Brown are part of the big three, but I definitely think they're complementary to Derrick Henry. He's just so good. But I think the Browns they're kind of hard to figure out, but all they do is DJ Khaled would say, win, win, win. That's all they do.
Yeah, but they have had success together. Tyler, who do you like in this game? Casey likes the Browns with the double head running back there. Who do you like winning this one?
I like the Titans with King Henry. He's like the LeBron James of running back. He's bigger, faster, stronger than everybody. He's ridiculous build, and he never gets caught from behind. And he's 240 pounds.
He kind of feels like a Jerome Bettis that 30 years later is I'm going to take care of my body from the beginning though. Just you know what I mean? Not just like a beast like that. So
Jerome Bettis, that's a name I haven't heard for a while.
The wheels on the bus go round and round.
I talked about last week with the Titans. I think that with them, I think overall they're a little bit more trustworthy with the Browns than the Browns, because you know what you're going to get more from them than you are with Cleveland. I know, Casey, you like them, but I think that Baker Mayfield factor is still a little iffy, and they don't really have. I personally think the Beckham injury kind of makes it a little harder, because when they do move on to the playoffs, Beckham legitimately could take possibly at times 2 players from the defense, which could free up more of the running. So we'll see how that all plays out long term. But I think for today's game, I like the Titans as well. So Tyler and I both like the Titans. Casey likes the Browns. Case, go ahead.
Jarvis Landry is a beast, though.
He is. No, he is. I just meant with both of them on top.
He's I think possession receiver.
You don't think he's a number 1?
He has number 1 games at times.
Look at his yards per catch. It's not that. It's under 10 yards. It has been the last couple of years. I don't know about this year.
Wouldn't you say more?
They're missing Darren's right.
They're missing a quarterback.
When it comes to the playoffs, though, when they're missing Njoku and Beckham, that's going to hurt.
When you start playing those elite teams, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the second game here that we wanted to talk about. We haven't talked about this team in a while because they've had we're rolling out a freshman and JV squad there for a little bit. But believe it or not, they've kind of crawled their way back into the playoff hunt here. That we're speaking of the Niners, who are 5-6. going to be getting ready to play the 8-3 Bills this week in Arizona due to the Sonoma County no contact rule right there, or California, but also specifically right now, Santa Clara, I should say.
Yeah.
The Niners coming off a win last week against the Rams, 23-20. Bills beat the Chargers 27-17. Tyler, Niners starting to get a little bit healthier here. They're starting to. I got to give Shanahan credit. They seem like they've built a culture now where they're, they're not folding. They could have easily folded. They're being creative. They're coming up with ways to win games. So, what is that win versus the Rams? I got kind of a 3-part question before you kind of answer it how you want, but I'm kind of curious just to get your standpoint now. After that win versus the Rams, to me it says a decent amount about their culture. So, I'm kind of curious to get your thoughts on that. Did it matter at all? Do you see that as a reason, why they've won a few games here? And then, and then go ahead. And then what are you specifically looking for in this game? And then obviously, who do you like to win?
I think the win, they kind of have a little ownage over the Rams. They're 4-0 the last 4 times they played them. And I think Shanahan and McVay have this little personal, friendly rivalry, but where, who's the top young coach? And so far, they both have lost Super Bowls and not performed very well in the Super Bowl. Their teams, their play calling and stuff. And so that's the part I see in last week's win. And it gets them back into the playoffs. And this week against the Bills, I don't know how the Niners are a point favorite. It doesn't make sense to me. I think Vegas knows something that we don't know. But you were mentioning A.J. Brown running with the ball being tough and, that's where I see Debo. Debo's just – you got the nickname Debo for a reason. He's hard to tackle.
I got a stat here where he has 1,293 yards from scrimmage his first 2 years. I think that's the second most in Niners history behind Jerry Rice.
That's not even a full 2 years. That's only a year and 5 games this year.
Yeah, so that's pretty impressive. So who do you like to win the game then?
Purely being biased, I'd pick the Niners. But if I were betting my life, I'd probably take the Bills.
The Bills, yeah.
I don't trust Nick Mullins. You can't throw the ball outside the numbers. So
that's why I'm shocked they're getting a point.
Yeah, me too. I was like, how the heck? And I have to bet on this team in our pick 5 because I always pick that game.
Casey, let's get to the other side of this game here. I'm curious to get your thoughts. Obviously we're way out here in California. I'm sure you're all over the Buffalo Bills network there, but
it's all over our Twitter feeds.
I know. I got to give Twitter, the Buffalo fan base on Twitter is unreal. It's I don't even have that many followers or following that many people, but I just feel like I get Raptors and Bills stuff nonstop. My knowledge has gone way up on the Canadian teams a little bit over the last month here.
Tony Kornheiser's waving that flag.
Yeah, exactly. I should do the same
thing. Good night, Canada.
Casey, other team, do you consider the Bills a threat in the AFC, and why or why not?
I mean, they're a threat. They kind of remind me of the Titans last year. They can.
It's a good comparison.
Yeah, I mean, they have a really good defense. So Tre'Davious White is, an absolute beast as a corner. And then I think Sean McDermott's a pretty damn good coach. I don't know. I mean, it's kind of weird. I was thinking about it, though. I was like, Chris Berman's just praying one of these years the Buffalo Bills and the Niners will make the Super Bowl. But
one of these years he'll get his wish. What do you think of Allen? Because he's kind of the key, right? He's a key to this thing.
I think he's a damn good quarterback. I mean, when he first came, I mean, like Tyler mentioned, I forget when we were on one of these podcasts, he does make some dumbass decisions where he laterals backwards for no reason. But I mean, he is a good quarterback, though. I think he's, the maturation process is finally happened, and he's finally got some players around him. And I don't know, I wouldn't say they're legit, but I can see them going to past the wild card round.
Yeah, I think that's a good call there. I liked your comparison to the Titans last year. I think that's actually a really good call there in terms of a team that could do some damage, but probably isn't good enough to get by the Chiefs and the Steelers in the championship round if they were to make it that far. I think that's a really good call there. I wanted to point out real quick about the Niners defense. They do have some guys back, but I'm curious. The matchup I'm going to be looking for is how Diggs does against the Niners secondary. The Niners have
We
been
guard
lit up
core
pretty good.
receivers terrible.
They've been lit up by Adams, by Metcalf, by Hopkins this year, who are obviously elite receivers. I don't know if Diggs is quite as good as those guys, but he might be the next tier right below that. So I'm curious to see. And all those guys got 30-plus fantasy points against the Niners. So
I also
I'm
like those quarterbacks better as far as like timing and stuff. Josh Allen's more of an improvising.
He is true. That is true. Diggs is having a good year this year, though.
Oh, Diggs is good. He's had a good last 3 years.
So it'll be interesting. And Tyler, I think you made the point that when I was looking at the spread, I'm just like, why are I was stunned that the Niners were a point favorite, but maybe the Bills are due for a loss. That's what Vegas is thinking, or maybe they think Nick Mullins. Maybe they think Nick Mullins is the real deal here. So, anything you got to add there on the Niners game? Anything you're pulling? Anything else you're looking for?
Mostert needs to have a big game with Debo. Those are the two keys to success for that offense.
We should say it's a Monday night game too
in Arizona.
I think
I think
it's going to get out of. I think it's going to get out of control, and CJ Beathard's going to have to come in the third quarter.
Oh, let's hope not.
That's definitely not a good sign for the team if CJ's coming in there. All right. Well, I think that's going to be an interesting game this week, like I said, on the Monday night game. So big game for the Niners. They win this one, they're right back into the playoff mix here at 6-6. So and the thing with them is they're starting to get healthier and healthier. So
I think the Bills are going to circle the wagons on the Niners.
The Niners we'll see. Tyler's probably feeling.
We watched the Falcons kick the shit out of the Raiders last week.
There's no need. We already did that segment. Time to move on.
True.
Don't bring up old shit, as Smokey would say.
All right, well, that's our Let's Go for 2 segment. We looked ahead to the Titans.
2 Friday references.
I like it. Tyler and I both like the Titans. Casey likes the Browns. I think I kind of like the Bills in this one. Tyler, it sounds like you like the Bills in this one too, but your heart is going with the Niners in this one as well. Case, I didn't get your pick there. Who do you got?
On the Bills and Niners?
Did you not hear him say what he said the last 2 times he was talking?
Yeah. I do. Sorry, brain fart. All right.
Baloney.
Some little baloney there.
All right,
we'll be back
again if Tyler wants to hear it. But
he probably doesn't. All right, we'll be back to wrap up the NFL segment here.
Maybe not.
All right, everybody. Welcome back here to the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. We're going to wrap up the NFL segment in the show here. We're going to start out here with the dump and run segment, 3 questions in 30 seconds.
Casey's already completed that section.
Casey's completed that one. This might have been one of the reasons Tyler was absent last week, but we'll keep all that in between each other. But
thank you,
guys,
Starbucks.
Guys, I got
there was no running. It was straight dumps.
Straight dumps. All right. So, well, in honor of that, we're going to do our own segment here, the dump and run, and like we do every week. And our first question is going to be, I was thinking of struggling quarterbacks and just, if your life was on the line, which one of these guys are you taking? And so I'm going to give you 2 rough ones right now, and you're going to have to make a decision on this. Who are you taking out of these 2 struggling quarterbacks for your life? Carson Wentz or Jimmy G? Tyler?
Is Jimmy G healthy?
Yes, of course.
I'll take. Well, if they get their coaches with them, I'll take Jimmy G. But I'll take Carson Wentz based on just single individual talent. I think he has a better arm and can do more. He does a lot more for the other team too, while doing some stuff. So he needs to tone that down. But I think that's easier to teach than being able to throw an out pattern. So I would take Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz. Casey, life on the line. What quarterback are you taking? Which quarterback on a game? But you need one game for your life. Who are you taking?
I am not taking Carson Wentz because I saw this statistic the other day, and I was like, this is the worst statistic. And the quarterbacks were Deshaun Kaiser, Mark Sanchez twice, and I forget there's a couple other on there, and it was below.
That is one hell of a list.
Below 60% with on pace for 25 plus turnovers, and I was like, I'm not taking that guy. If you're on a list with Deshaun Kaiser and Mark Sanchez, I was like, oh shit.
Twice Mark Sanchez.
I'm sorry.
Casey, I think I'm with you on that one. I got to take Jimmy G. At least I know. At least he's able to like sometimes win some games. His winning percentage at least is decent. He can't maybe hit his open receivers, but at least he doesn't throw it to the team as much as Carson Wentz does. He's just gifting teams, the like games right now. Like you were saying, Tyler, he's just throwing the ball to the other team unnecessarily and in the end zone when they're about to score, and he just feels like a quarterback that you're right. Like he needs a total start over. Like he desperately needs like a Kyle Shanahan to come down and like break him down from the bottom and start back up again. He looks like he's lost.
What's funny to me is like we watch a lot of sports, but the one guy that always defends him is Dan Orlovsky. And I was like,
well, that guy's
that guy's an idiot.
Let's be fair. Dan can be used to struggling.
Do you remember when he ran out of the end zone for a safety and he went 0-17? Dan, shut your mouth. Why do you have a job?
That's a good point there, Dan. Thank you. I forgot about him running out of the back of the end zone there. All right. We got to get to question number 2 here on the dump and run segment. All right, let's go to a little bit different than sports here, a little different theme here. Case, we'll let you go first on this one. What is your favorite food to get at a football stadium? So when we went to those Raider game, what's the food you're getting?
Easily nachos with the jalapenos, not the pickles like the Suns put on them, but
there's a lot of parking though in Oakland.
A lot of parking in Oakland,
the especially nachos now. Though, before the Raiders screwed them up, they used to have like beef, and then they put this like healthy crap like chicken on it, and I was just like,
I don't think anything they put there was healthy. I gotta say, there's
chicken.
Nothing healthy is there.
No, but I mean, it was like, where's the beef? Like, give me the Greek. Like, I don't.
What are you, Arby's?
Where's the beef?
We are the beef.
Tyler, what do you guys' favorite food in the studio?
I just went with the old-fashioned wiener with mustard and, but you got to have a Coors Light. I don't want a fancy beer. Just one of those light $10 Coors Lights.
$10, probably $14, man.
You're probably. San Francisco, it might be up to 18.
You got to pay $40. You got to pay $50 in parking, and then you got to go to over there. That's why we took Bart.
And what's funny is that when we used to go to a Giants game with your dad, Tyler, I'd be like, "This Coors Light costs more than the A's ticket."
I know, it's crazy. The dollar game, unreal. All right, my favorite food taste, I'm with you on that, is the nachos as well, just for. Got more just an experience. I remember always going to the games with Dad and getting the nachos, the terrible nachos, feeling horrible the next day. But just knowing good that you just ate all that grease I remember the one image I have, and I feel like an idiot for it, is I just came down the stairs. I was probably like 14. And I forget who the kicker was on the Raiders at the time, but it wasn't
Seabass. He was the kicker for years.
Yeah, but as Seabass was one of the only kickers that would be on the injured list once in a while, as he was hurt for one of these games, and it was a right-footed kicker. My dad sat on the field goal where if the kicker pulled it, it would go to us. And I had the pack of nachos, and the ball went like 5 feet over my head, and I should have just jumped for it, but I had the nachos in my hand. It's like this one image I have of I could have maybe for a second caught a football there, but Casey, those nachos were good. It wasn't worth it. You're right. All right.
You should have been like that guy. You should have been like that guy that jumped out of the stands and caught the ball.
The Bears guy, the most epic play of all time right there, without a doubt. All right. Last question here on the dump and run segment. Favorite touchdown celebration ever? So it doesn't have to be like, it can be like one that was always done all the time. It can be one that was done one time, whatever. Tyler, what do you got?
T.O. running in the star.
That was the best celebration ever.
Yeah, fuck the Cowboys, and he was on the Niners, and it was great celebration.
The first one or the second one?
They both of them. They count as one. It was one celebration together. The Sharpie was great, and then my favorite one that is the Mile High salute. It's simple. They didn't do it against the Niners very often.
Done against the Raiders quite a bit.
Yeah, so it didn't bother me like the Lambeau leap would piss me off.
How about the Lambeau leap? Yeah, you got that one. You experienced that one a lot more than the Mile High. Case, which one's yours?
Easily my favorite. And I mean, he's a great announcer. A lot of people love him. But I was so happy to hear Joe Buck just PMS when Randy Moss did the moon to the Green Bay Packers.
He did. He was like, that is sick.
Despicable act.
Gosh, unbelievable. What a disgrace to humankind.
Throw him in jail.
the guys are like the crowd at like Wisconsin's like probably like they're not like, all right, good job, Randy, keep it up. You know, they're probably like F you, and he's like, no wonder he's moving the crowd. He's been there for 10 years. You know, relax.
Well, there's a tradition,
right.
I guess, in Green Bay where the fans booed the away bus leaving every time, like
okay,
every
yeah,
game.
I mean,
So,
Yeah,
like,
no, that's
what.
exactly why. You're right, Tyler. That's why he did it, because he's like, the Joe Buck's like, that is a despicable act. Like, no, it's just like, oh,
It's not like he actually pulled his pants down.
yeah, that would have been a little. Then yes, then that's for sure. Yeah,
That would still be funny to me. I'd be like, that boy, Randy.
okay, so
Straight cash, homie.
Straight cash, Hobie. One of the best videos ever. All right, I had Tyler. I kind of had the TO Sharpie there too, just because the fact that you had like you're running with a Sharpie already pre-planned. It's it's kind of creative there. And then of course, we are the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast. So to me, no spike is better than giving the ball to the fat man and seeing that fat man spike the ball and hearing John Madden say, see, you get that ball to the fat man there. He doesn't know what he's doing with the ball there. Sometimes he spike it, because they'd spike it and some of them would roll over as they spike it because they can't hold them out. So at Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, we definitely have to go with the fat boy spike the most, dude. So that's what I'm rolling with on the touchdown.
Honorable mention is the Dirty Bird. I thought that was going to be Casey's pick. But
that's what I thought too. Is Casey going to go with the Dirty Bird as well? That would be kind of an annoying one too if you were playing against that.
Oh, yeah, that was very annoying.
No, my honorable mention was going to be Joe Horn with the cell phone.
Joe Horn, yeah, not a bad one.
And then the Rams, the first year on turf when they'd like get around the ball and like do marbles, like I don't know.
Yeah, that was a good.
Yeah.
No, I know what you mean. I thought it was on fire. Was it making fire? Dominoes. They played dominoes.
It's like they were doing marble.
I thought they were making a fire or something. I thought that's what they were doing. I thought they were getting around the fire.
What were they doing, Casey?
Pottery.
They were doing pottery.
Pottery.
Get the hell out of here. Pottery. They're doing marbles.
Hey, it'd be a great idea.
From the big from Major League.
Casey has a very elegant answer though. Hey, when we get to the end zone, let's make pottery.
You don't remember that spinning thing? We're gonna act like we're touching that.
We're gonna make a beautiful piece of pottery this morning. All right, that's our dump and run segment this week. 3 questions and somewhat 30 seconds, whatever. Let's get into the gambling segment this week, gentlemen. You weren't here last week, obviously, so I didn't get to rub it in your face that I went 5-0 to you the week before that. So then,
that's why that was the main reason I didn't show up. I didn't want to hear that shit.
And then, sure enough, I get reminded that Darren, you're not that good, and you go. And I went 0-5 last week, so I got it handed to me. Tyler, before I get into the standings, though, real quick.
Look what happens when you miss us.
I guess my picks go down a little bit. Still beating both you guys, as we'll get to in a second. But, Tyler, before I get to reveal all the standings here so far, I was curious. I wanted to get I was talking to Clint a little bit this week on Twitter. I was maybe thinking of your fantasy football league. We haven't checked in a while. How's that league going with the guys there?
Going stupendous.
Are you still in first place?
Up 2 games on my division rival Francis, and there's 2 games left. So, and I have more points. And I beat him once. He beat me once. So I have the tiebreakers. I assume I have the better division record. So it looks like I'm making the playoffs.
Whoa.
I got a tough one this week. I'm in 4th place, but I have to win. I mean, I can still get in, but I need people to lose, kind of fall out. But if I win, I'm in. So, but I'm playing, of course, dark horse, and so we'll see. I'm sure he'll put extra effort in to beat me this week. So, we'll see if I can pull out the win in that fantasy football one. So good luck. Last week of regular season fantasy football for most people this week. So good luck this week out there doing that.
Miss O'Connor would be extraordinarily proud with the word stupendous there.
Miss O'Connor.
It was just Miss Carter.
Miss Carter.
Miss Carter.
Who's Miss O'Connor?
Now remember we had the swearing jar for English class.
Oh, chronic.
Oh, chronic. That's right. She was O'Connor.
Yeah, it was actually O'Chronic.
That's right.
O'Connor. That's funny.
She was on.
I was like, who the heck's O'Connor? She ended up teaching at Santa Rosa High School the year after I left.
Man, you got a good English class.
Good job.
I
with
went
that
in to visit my drama teacher, and she was there. I was like, "What the hell? Do you remember me?" And she's like, "No." I was like, "All right, well, moving on."
Well, let's see if Tyler.
I haven't heard the word stupendous in like I don't even know.
Casey, let's see if Tyler can be stupendous this week in gambling. All right. So I'm 28 and 26, leading the pack. Tyler's 22 and 23, a little bit behind me. And Casey, you're bringing up the rear, 19 and 24. You did a big week here. Clint went 1-4 last week. So Clint, make sure you send me those picks this week when you get a chance. All right, let's go with you first. What are your 5 picks this week? What are your stupendous 5 picks? Here we go.
My stupendous picks will be I have the Texans over the Colts. Deshaun Watson's having a stupendous year that is going unnoticed. He has.
You got what? Houston, you said? You got Houston.
Yeah, Houston getting +3.
Okay.
Then I have the Pats versus the Chargers, and the Chargers are 1.5 favorites, and I will never bet on the Chargers as favorites because they know how to blow games better than Misty May. So I'm taking the Pats getting 1.5.
Good knowledge. Okay.
I have stupendous knowledge on the adult scene. Bills versus Niners. I'm taking the Niners. Niners are getting 1. I don't want the Niners, but my heart says I have to take them. Raiders versus Jets. We're going to keep the tradition alive and keep picking the Jets because the Jets just are due. Sam Darnold, fun fact, hasn't thrown a touchdown in 4 straight starts. And then I have the Falcons versus Saints over 46. That's just, they both don't play. Saints can play defense, but Falcons don't play any defense. So.
Not according to the Raiders.
Not according to the Raiders. Case, what's your picks this week?
I'm taking the Saints over the Falcons, the spread. I'm going to take the Browns over the Titans. Kind of a pick-em game when I thought about it, but Burrow's out. But I'm actually going to take – it's kind of hard for me, but I'll take the Dolphins.
I think that's a 10-point line.
Yeah, I know. That's
Dolphins.
It's not a pick-em.
Well, pick-em means when it's like a 1-point game or something like that.
No, I just meant because, like, Flores is a great coach, but without Burrow, it's going to be tough. But I think 10 points is going to cover.
All right,
and
so
then, and then I'm going to take. I think it's going to be a rout. Actually, is the Seahawks versus the Giants. I got them covering, and then
who's them?
Giants versus the Giants. Seattle versus the Giants.
Yeah, and then
Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm going to take the under, actually, on the Jaguars-Vikings.
Hey, Case, who did you have, Miami, or did you take Cincinnati in that one?
I took Miami covering.
Okay. All right, so those Casey's picks there. My picks for the weekend, I am actually putting money on these picks, believe it or not. So we'll see if it actually pans out. I got Chiefs to cover their.
You just make love to the Chiefs.
13-point favorites. Well, they got to get to Mahomes. I'm going to ride with him for a little bit. Mahomes, I got the Browns at 4.5 underdogs. I got the Falcons at 2.5 underdogs. I got the Pats to win straight out, and I got the Cardinals at 2.5 point underdogs as well. 35-1 odds. So we'll see if it would pay out pretty big. So we'll see if that one hits. So you guys can be rooting for those teams this morning. The game I feel the least confident in, but it's the morning game, so that could all just go right away, is that Falcons Saints game. So we'll see how that.
Are you parlaying all these? Or all individual, right?
Parlaying all of them. So that's what makes it a big payout. It's like a little money to win a lot. So we'll see if it's kind of one of those things. So we'll see.
I thought you aren't doing any more parlays.
Well, I got down to the very end of what I have, so I just figured let's just go. We're just going to go all in with Flanagan on something. So we're just going to go big on it on this last one here. All right, so that's the show for the week, guys. Good to have you guys back.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Please. We appreciate the 30.
We need to get the 50 before the end of the year.
That's the goal.
I might retire.
Casey, keep hustling out there. Tyler, keep hustling out there. Again, follow us at Fatboy FadeAway on Twitter. I'll definitely be on there today. Tyler at Tyler MGUIRK. Casey at Casey 954-321
That is not my
7643
phone number. That is not my phone
14.
number.
Ladies, that is not his phone number out there. So yeah, hope everybody out there has a good rest of the Sunday and enjoy the games. Peace.
If we get
See you on
to
the next
8
one.
likes, I'll mail you on my notepad. Might be worth something someday. 8 likes. That's it. There's 8.
Make sure you sign it too, Tyler. All right.
I'll sign it.
Peace, guys.